may have, is it actually 7 o'clock? I think I've actually done that. Bang on 7 o'clock. Look at that. Bang on 7 o'clock. Completely unintentional as well. Hello. This is going to be really random. You've probably not seen my face in a long, long time. In fact, probably months at this point. Some of you maybe even a year. And so I thought I'd jump into the new year of 2025 and do a live. I've never done a live before. And I want to make it very, very clear. I'm not expecting anybody to be here, but there's two reasons why I'm doing this. The first of which is I love accountability. And I think if you don't throw yourself in the deep end in some way, shape, or form and put yourself in front of others, certainly with my line of work, I mean, A, you'll never learn anything. And B, I just don't think I'll get the love for it. So, I've got over 1,000 people sitting here anxiously waiting for me to appear on their screens. And so I thought, why am I not using that? And the second thing is, I can talk a lot. And I think sometimes I feel so confined within the space of social media, whereby shorts are 15, 20, 30 seconds. I just feel trapped. But I suppose the third reason is, where the hell have I been? Poignantly, I'd say a third of my audience appeared because of a video that I did pretty much this time last year on ultra processed food. So if any of you stumble across this video, because I'm hoping that I can save this video after I've gone live, and if I can't, this is going to be really anticlimactic, but I'm hoping that this video, once finished, could be like 10 minutes long. I can save it and then put it on the channel. Again, famous last words. I swear I saw somebody go live then with me. But anyway, it's been a long while. So where have I been? Because I did that video and I felt really motivated by it. But the short of it is, I went traveling. I got a one-way ticket to Southeast Asia. And in short, I ticked off a childhood dream of mine. I took all of this gear with me, got a backpack on, and I went traveling for 5-6 months. And I was in a real kind of dilemma. I mean, first world problems, oh my gosh. But I didn't want to film too much of it, because I was trying to run and maintain the business that I still have today. And that is a coaching business. I'm an online coach. I coach with people every single day, predominantly fat loss, but I'd like to think that I'm capable of helping people build muscle, and equally with their running goals, half marathons, which I'll touch on in a moment. And I just didn't want to blend my content and deviate too far from my coaching business, because I feel as if as soon as I lose relatability, people are not going to think that I'm worthy of their time and investment. I never want to lose my relatability. Maybe that's a vulnerability of mine. So anyway, I went traveling from February to July. And honestly, after that, I had no excuse. I've been active on other social media platforms, but not here. And then I got into prep for the marathon. Some of you may have seen my New York Marathon video that I did in November now. The short of that is, I had a 12-week training camp. My goal was under 3 hours, and I did it in 2 hours 45. So as you can imagine, I was very, very happy with that. And so, it's actually been a really, really good year, 2024, fortunately. And I'm hoping for more fun and games this year. But I really want YouTube to be a priority. And I say it a lot. And I think sometimes you've just got to take it on the chin and say, look, you could have done better. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to go through some questions. I've had lots of questions because it's the beginning of the year. Clients have asked me lots of questions in terms of workouts, nutrition, and I thought I'd share them here, my answers, because if somebody's asked them, then somebody else is probably thinking it as well. And I know what lives are like. If there's no one on it, you're not going to go on it, because then you're the only one watching there. Totally get it. So again, I'm totally at ease with the fact that there is 0 people here. This is going to be a lovely, lovely throwback in X amount of time from now. So I suppose the first question is ultra processed food. Obviously, that's the video that I think drew a lot of people to this channel. What am I doing with that at the moment? My diet is 90% non-ultra processed and 10% ultra processed, which I think is a very healthy balance to have. I think it's unrealistic to completely eradicate it from your diet. Sure, you can do it, but at what expense? Because For me, when I'm out seeing friends and family, and certainly when I'm out traveling here and there, the convenience of UPF can be quite powerful, and equally, it actually can be very nice. But considering where I was, and by that, I was living off convenience food, meal deals, protein bars, all sorts of supplementation. It's a huge contrast to where I was. So I feel amazing right now. And I think my performance levels at the moment in this previous year has been a testament to that. But generally speaking, I'd say it's a 90-10 split. And I'm sure at some point I'll do more content on ultra-processed food, but I don't want to be the guy who talks about ultra-processed, because I think there is a bit of a image against that now. You have some of the, is it Eddie Abu? I think he's a big name who goes against ultra-processed food. There's loads of people mocking it now, and I don't want to be that person. So anyway, yeah, it's 90-10 at the moment. So I have some questions here from my clients, and I'm going to reel them off because this is going to tie me over, I think, not that I'm counting this live down, it's going to tie me over, I think, for about 10 minutes. So recently took on a client, and they had a few days on the bounce whereby they were in a calorie deficit, they were training, and woke up following day. This is like 3 days or 2 days on the bounce, and they're 0.4 kilos heavier, and they're thinking, how the hell does that work? Now, for women, it can be slightly different compared to men. But generally speaking, your body weight is incredibly volatile, and it's unfair. And this is why I get my clients to weigh themselves every single day. If you're weighing yourself once a week, it's not a true picture of what your weight is. It could genuinely fluctuate by 1 to 2 kilos every day, easily by a kilo. In some instances, depending on how wild your day has been, it could be 4 or 5 kilos. So 0.4 kilos in the grand scheme of things is very, very little. But reasons for it could literally be that you've eaten late at night, so you have more volume and more weight and more weight in your body. It could be, for example, that you are slightly dehydrated because you worked out late at night and you've not replenished your body enough, so it's holding on to a little bit of water. It could be that you need to go to the toilet. It could be that you're holding on to a lot of salt and sodium. There is a lot of factors at play. And so that's why, again, reverting back to what I said, if you weigh yourself every single day, what you want to look for is a trend. Because if you have a graph in front of you of 6 months of data where you've weighed yourself every single day, the trend should ideally be going down. However, if you are to zoom into that graph and extrapolate it, I'm sure that's a word. If you zoom in, you'll see how volatile those weights are, but ultimately the trend is going down. So don't worry about a slight increase of 0.4 kilos. It is totally not worth worrying about. Is it okay to overeat protein on any given day? So the short answer is yes. My clients aim for around 1 gram per pound of body weight. An easy way to gauge that is, probably an easy way to calculate it, is take your weight in kilos and double it. So if you're 70 kilos, aim for 140 grams of protein. If you overeat it, to be honest, in January, I would encourage you to do it because it will probably significantly reduce the likelihood of you overeating generally with calories. So it will suppress your appetite. In terms of, let's say, if you go over your protein target exponentially, it's still not going to be a problem. I mean, I'd rather get my other calories from carbs and fats. But yeah, I'd just crack on is what I would say. I think there is an upper limit of protein because of how satiating it is. But if you go over every now and again, it's absolutely fine. But at the end of the day, if you're in a calorie surplus, and I think this was asked because, are they going to gain weight? Are they going to gain fat by eating more protein? The reality is your body will distinguish when it's in a calorie surplus. And if it's protein, fats, or carbs that bumps you over that threshold into a surplus, you're going to gain fat. The body can convert protein, albeit in quite a long-winded way, to the point where it will use it as energy, as stored fat. So it doesn't matter what macronutrients it is, you're going to gain weight. But generally, overeating protein, it's not going to be a problem. So creatine, and ironically, creatine is something that I've actually started taking recently. I haven't taken it for years. The reason being is I've generally felt okay not having it, but I have been taking it for the past couple of months. It's been fantastic, which I'll touch on in a moment. But do you need to load creatine if you haven't taken it before? Now, there was some research, probably say like 20 years ago. I might be off there, but good while ago, there was research to suggest that you would slowly build up your creatine to almost 10 grams per day to sensitize your body to it. So your body is familiar with taking in this extra volume of creatine and therefore the extra water. So you'd bring it up over maybe a week or two to 10 grams per day, and then you'd go back down to 5 grams. Honestly, don't bother. Just do 5 grams a day. The key is in the consistency, and I suppose that's a testament to anything in life. But it just take 5 grams a day, and if you do it consistently for week on week, month on month, you're going to get the benefits from it. I've been doing it for 2 months, 5 to 8 grams per day. The reason I say 8 is I can't be bothered. Pretend this is the top of my scoop. Sometimes the creatine comes over the top because it's dead clunky. I just can't be bothered. So I'll probably have like maybe 6 to 8 grams per day. You can get a German version of creatine, which is micro-ionized, and I can't remember the name of it, but that one is ultra ionized. Well, micro-ionized is the same thing, but it's refined more so you don't get the clumpiness, so you could be very exact with 5 grams. I know how some people are with their nutrition. They have to weigh everything out. So yeah, you can get a more refined version of creatine, but honestly, just get the cheapest creatine monohydrate. 5 grams a day. Bob's your uncle, Sally's your aunt. So this is a bit more gym orientated now. So why am I getting into a squat? That is a loaded question, but I thought I'd briefly talk about it here because there are some touch points that I think will be really useful for people. The first of which, and I actually did a video on my Instagram today about this, is generally speaking, your knees, believe it or not, are at the front of your body. So the more you load weight on the front of your body, the more you are going to impact your knees rather than your glutes. And so if you're going into a squat and you've loaded the bar, especially if it's really heavy, the tendency is at the bottom of the movement to ever so slightly lean forward. And literally, if you were to do this, as I'm doing now, standing there, you'll notice that as soon as you lean forward, your toes will grip the floor to prevent you from falling forward. That's what's happening in a very subtle way with a squat. You'll go down and you'll lean forward, maybe because it's too heavy or a lack of ankle mobility. And what will happen is you'll really tense your toes. And because the tension is anterior to the body all of a sudden and not centered on those heels, all that pressure is going to go to your knees. So a lot of the time with knee pain, it is ultimately poor form. And it's usually because people are forward leaning in some capacity. And it's usually at the bottom of the movement. So ultimately, I would bring down the weight and slowly increase it and see at what weight you actually start to feel the pain. Excuse me, because that is when you can acknowledge, okay, this weight is actually too heavy for me because I'm compromising my form. Why can I only lift half of what I did in the gym last week on the same machine? I couldn't wrap my head around this question when I first got asked it, but I think I know what the answer is. So in a gym, I've got no cables around me. You've got, well, this is actually a perfect example. So this here is a single pulley system. So imagine when you're in the gym, you're doing a tricep push down, and the rack of weights here are in front of you, and it's getting pulled along by a single cable. If you see that kind of cable in the gym, I'm going to use the tricep press as an example. Let's say you can do 40 kilos on it. If you go into the gym and you use a strikingly similar machine, but it has 2 of these cables, that's a double pulley system. So you will not be lifting 40 kilos as you would be on a single pulley. You'll be lifting 20 kilos. So you probably are on the same machine, but it might be on a different side. And so you're using a different pulley system. So just be mindful of how many cables the machine has. You've not got weaker, I promise. 3 more, we'll round this off. How long have we been on here? This has been fun. 13 minutes. Jeez, David, wrap it up, mate. Okay, right. We're going to fire through these last 3. Less carbs on rest days. No, stick to the same carbohydrates. The recipe and the formula, the winning formula is inconsistency. So keep at it. I don't personally reduce my carbohydrates. You still want to be aiming for 10,000 roughly steps per day. Who's ringing me? Josh Staniford. I bet he's watching. He's watching. My guy, my man. Josh, I'm not done yet. You need to ring me later. I'm not done. So no, I would not reduce my carbohydrates on rest days. I just think it's pointless and you're just making it more difficult, more complicated, more complex. No point. Favorite running shoes for long distance. You know, if you'd asked me this a month ago, I would have said the Alphafly 3s. But unfortunately, long story short, I've lost half of the heel on that shoe after only 3 months. less than 3 months wear, which is just shy of £100 worth of value per month. So I would say my favorite running shoe is the Alphafly One. I may even have it here. So this is my favorite running shoe. I think this was released in 2020 or 2021, can't remember, but it's stood the test of time. Now, to make sense of what I just said earlier, the Alphafly 3, literally, I lost about half of the foam here. And I think the reason being is Nike are obviously trying to make the shoe very, very light, but it seems that it's come at the expense of the quality. So yeah, Alphafly ones are my favorite. I wish I could recommend another one. Hoka are really good as well, but for actual like an event day, I would say get some Nike trainers. And then the last one is like easy high protein meals. And I suppose this is a testament to it's that time of the year. People are trying to cut weight or lose fat in particular because of the Christmas period. Some really easy ones off the top of my head. I personally love Greek yogurt. I had it today. Skyr yogurt in particular. If you're going to get Greek yogurt, get Skyr. It's just the best quality, the best consistency. Honestly, I've not had anything that comes close to it. So I have some Skyr yogurt with some honey and banana. I think that is phenomenal. You can always supplement. I think supplement is sometimes frowned upon, but honestly, if you were to just even mix it with water or even with almond milk or oat milk, you're boxing off like 160 calories and the best part of 30 grams of protein. So I would recommend that. In terms of breakfast, I personally love bacon medallions. I'm currently obsessed with bacon medallions, eggs, avocado on sourdough bread. Phenomenal. But yeah, in terms of high protein, it's difficult. I mean, is this going to be coming from a vegan perspective, a vegetarian perspective? If you're vegetarian, it's going to be a bit harder to get your protein and to get all your amino acids because you need to have a more complete profile. So you need to eat more food. So it's a bit elongated as a result. But generally speaking, if you actually stick to whole grain foods, which people don't think about, if you have whole grain foods and have less ultra processed food, you are going to get more protein in your diet just from those foods alone. So try and focus on whole foods and then total that up without making too much more extended effort about your protein and see what's left. I think you'll very easily plug in the gap. Right, that's it. I'm done. This was partly for the reasons mentioned earlier, but also I wanted to test this out because it would be funny if I look at this video back and there's no audio. That's going to be really awkward. I mean, at least you've got a pretty face to look at, but it's going to be really awkward if there's no audio. So anyway, this has been good use. Hope this has been of use. I don't know whether I can bookmark or checkpoint or chapter, this video. That'll be very useful. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Josh Staniforth. This is what it takes. 2025, I'm coming for you. I'll do another live soon. I don't know when. I need to do more videos first soon, don't I? Videos first, then your lives, David. But maybe I'll do a bit more of a theme on the next live. But anyway, I'm back. I'll see you all very soon.